like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength, now I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules, my life destroyed.
Hi, welcome. Happy Thursday to everybody. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. I scheduled this for Saturday, but I decided to do it a little early because I got a lot going on this weekend. So I thought I'd go ahead and get this done. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy something that you see here and something that's discussed here. It keeps you coming back because that's what this is all about. You know, a lot of times people get on these panels and they get on these channels, and I don't want to be one of those people that try to be over dramatic or try to create drama just to keep an audience. I want to be one of these people that present the information so that you can enjoy the content and possibly leave with a feeling of understanding about the topic, especially what I'm talking about. Um, you know, Tonight I want to talk about some things that I've been researching over the last couple of days, and I want to talk about some window things. Let me find it. God, I have so much stuff going on here. Um, I want to talk about the King Road house, and I want to talk about how sound travels because I think it's very, very interesting to me to wonder exactly how people get the information that they receive from a crime scene. You know, because it's interesting to me to think if I was researching a crime scene, I'd want to know the most I could about all the situations involved. Does that make sense? Is there anybody here in chat? I can see that there's me and somebody else. So if you're here in chat, let me know you're here. Rondi was here waiting for me and I stood her up, and I'm sorry about that. I totally forgot about I didn't really forget about the live. I just went to sleep and woke up late. But I want you to know that when it comes to researching things, and I don't like to call it things because, you know, whenever you're doing research on a topic and it has to do with criminal intent, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm looking at and how does it fit into what I'm trying to prove? And that's what all this is about. It's about how did it fit into what individuals are trying to prove in this case. And that's it. How are they going to prove without a reasonable doubt that a crime was committed and this person was the one that did it? And if you can't do that, then you don't have sufficient evidence to take this to trial and gain a conviction. You don't. What you have is just circumstantial, where it looks like it could be evidence, but it really isn't. It's just circumstantial. So I found the video that I wanted to play. At least I think I did. Let me see here. No, that's not the one. That's not the one either. So, what I was just talking about, how do you know how to process evidence? Hi, Paula. How are you? Well, that's fine. I'm trying to find what I want to show tonight, so it might take a couple of minutes. So you're good. You're good. Um, whenever you step to a crime scene and you go in there and you see that a crime has been committed, instantly you corner off the location and you start to evaluate the evidence that you see. So you have to ask yourself, what am I looking at here? What am I looking at? And how is it going to play into the process of what I'm trying to get across? How am I going to show that this is going to start a puzzle that in the end, we're going to be able to prove that a crime was committed? And if we're good enough, we're going to be able to show who did it. We're going to be able to show how this process happened, who did it, and how we got to them. And most of the time we hear that didn't happen, that didn't happen. How did this happen? How did that happen? Well, I can tell you that if you're doing the evidence correctly, you're going to be able to show in the end how you got to that person. How you got to that person. Okay, I have enough material that I can go ahead and show you what I was going to show you. It's not the video that I wanted to show you, but it'll work. Since what I'm talking about tonight is the soundproof, that's what I'm going to show you, is how an individual demonstrates the window pane and sound. Okay, so here we go. There's a point to my madness here. The reason that I want to show you this is because I've been thinking is how did that window, how did the windows at the 1122 King Road house, how did sound travel through those windows? And I'm going to show you some pictures to show you the window texture and how the sound traveled through one ply and double pane windows. So let's listen to this gentleman speak on this.
These are the windows we bought at Home Depot. We mainly got them just because it's so hot in Texas and we wanted to reduce some of the heat, the electric bills. But these are double pane vinyl with argon gas. Okay, so we're going to compare the window temperatures. This is still the single pane window, and right now it's 11:44 and AM, and the temperature is 101.5. So this is the temperature with the old windows, the single pane windows. So let's take out the old window and install the new double pane window. So let's check out the window. This is the following day, same time, same scenario. It is 11:45 and it's at 93.6 degrees. And this is direct sunlight. So putting the double pane vinyl windows, you can totally tell that it's a lot thicker and you're not going to have the metal frame that with the metal frame, it's going to pass a lot of the heat, but with the vinyl, it's just going to be a lot better so the heat doesn't transfer into your room. So yeah, it does make a huge difference. Highly recommend these windows. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Okay, that's not really the one that I wanted to show you, but I watched enough of it. I guess I'm going to just go ahead and demonstrate what I learned as far as the knowledge that I gained from the video. And if I find it, I will play it on another live. Basically, what I was trying to show, and here's a picture. Let me see if I can find a picture of the 1122 King Road house, because that's what I'm talking about. And as you can recall, the 1122 King Road house had single ply windows on most of the windows. So those windows, as far as sound's concerned, would not be as hard for sound to be permeable to the outside. Does that make sense? Are you with me here? I hope you are, because I'm trying to do 50 different things all at once here. Like I'm saying, here I'm going to pull up the house here on this photo. That way I could show you what I'm talking about. Okay, as you can see in this photo, and you've seen these photos of this house a million times, so I know what you know what the house looks like. So if you look at the frames of the houses, I know in many pictures this right here is a sliding window, because you could tell in some of the photos of the police cam that this window was open most of the time. So I would venture to say that Xana's room was the same thing, because it looks like the same type of window. These windows down here look like, they don't necessarily look like storm windows. They look like one ply windows and the same on the upstairs. The point that I'm trying to make is this. Would that camera at 1112 King Road be able to capture the thud, the dog barking, and the whimpering based on the ply of the window? And that's what I'm trying to show here is would sound be able to travel through these window panes for that camera to pick up? And I even asked the question to Google. And I'm going to do some more research because I did a lot of research and obviously I didn't save it to the right email or something because I did an all-day research yesterday on this. What I'm trying to figure out is this bedroom right here is supposedly where the dog was barking up here, and the whimpering was coming from here. So if that camera on this side of the house supposedly captured all that, how permeable are these windows? Because we know that there's not any windows on this side of the house. It's just on the front. So these are the only windows that would be able to have to be permeated to be able to hear. I believe they said 50 feet. They said 50 feet. Okay, so 50 feet is quite a distance. And I asked Google, how far can a security camera hear sound from inside the house? Inside of a house. It said 15 feet. Microphone quality. The quality of sound depends on the quality of your microphone. Most home security systems can pick up sound within 15 feet of the camera. And it also says 15 to 25 feet here. It says, but 15 to 25 feet, however, this range can be based on the camera's sensitivity setting, the presence of background noise, and any obstacle that might affect sound transmission. So think about this. If the wind is blowing, if there's any other sound going around there, then it's going to be compromised. So on average, 15 to 25 feet. So they're saying that sound that they heard was 50 feet. 50 feet. Let me see if I can pull up another picture of G11 Green Road House. Because it's really hard to decipher on these things because it's a picture. It's not like you're there. You get what I'm saying? Let me show you this one. So as you can tell right here, there's the windows. And here would be where the camera would be. Okay? And I'm not trying to start anything here. I'm just merely just speaking. All right? So you tell me how to permeate through this window right here and through these walls. You can hear whimpering. And you can hear a thud. Hey, Swamp Rose, how you doing? And how you can hear a thud and how you can hear the dog barking from up here through these walls. Right. And this camera would be right here. What I'm trying to say is this would be at least 50 feet, right? And what I'm trying to show you is like it just stated in the other on the Google website, it said depending on the sensitivity of the camera, depending on the sound quality of the camera, the microphone on the camera. Thank you. I'm doing quite well. I'm trying to get my thoughts formulated. um, Getting the camera in the motion where it could catch the thud. Because think about it. If you heard a thud, unless it hit this wall, the sound would permeate toward the camera. If the thud was heading toward the window, the sound would be more like amplified forward rather than sideways. The same thing with the dog. If the dog was toward the slider, then the sound would have to go through the slider, out the back, and somehow be caught at a distance. I'm not saying that they heard on this camera, or even if this isn't the camera that captured all this. I'm saying that the sound would be muffled. It wouldn't be as clear as if you were standing in the front of this house. Evening, Aquarius. You get what I'm saying, guys? If you were standing here on this porch right here and you were talking, this camera would catch everything clear. Walk down these steps and probably 3 to 5 feet out into this driveway, the sound would still be okay, but depending on which way you were facing, your tone would be going in that direction and it'd be going either away from the camera microphone or toward it. So what I'm trying to say is based on what this camera supposedly captured, if this is the camera that captured that, I'm trying to decipher in my mind how clear these sounds were. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just trying to figure out how clear and how loud these sounds would have really been. Because you really can't let me catch up over here. He said, where I live, we usually don't hear people in the driveway, but people driving up the canyon over a mile away across the canyon is loud and clear. Of course, based on the acoustics, right? But do you have a camera that has ever captured that sound? Was it as clear as what you hear? Was you That's what I'm trying to say. Is I'm not trying to discount that this camera caught anything or didn't catch anything. I'm just merely trying to say that I'm kind of questioning how clear or how loud this would have been. They say it was like a fishbowl, at least for Linda Lane sounds. Okay. Swamp, would you like to come up for a little bit? I mean, it really does make a lot of sense as far as what I'm thinking is the sound would be directional based on which direction the event happened. It's kind of like, have you ever, let's say there was some construction going on, okay? There could be some construction going on in the back of this house. You could be banging on some sheetrock or something, but it could sound like the construction was 2 blocks up based on the acoustics and how the sound travels. I was merely trying to point out with the window thing in the very beginning, which I didn't show the right video, so it wasn't able to really get the point across. But what I was merely trying to see is the front of the house. Let me go back to the King Road house. as you can see, here's the front of the house. There's no windows on this side, on any of this side, other than the kitchen in the back. So I was merely trying to determine where the thud came from. Did it come in the hallway? Did it come against this wall? Did it come against the front wall? The dog was barking. This is the bathroom. So Kaylee's room is toward the back here. So was the dog closest to the slider barking? Was he in the interior of the house barking right here next to the door? So I'm trying to figure out in my mind how this sound would travel through these windows, through the panes, and how clear it was that they caught the sound. Like, was it muffled? Was it far away sounding? Was it close up? Was it clear? Did you have to use headphones in order to hear that it was a dog barking? Swamp says, I thought the thud might have come from his room. In the leaked audio, you can hear Ethan yell right around the time of the thud. Yes, I have that. I have that audio too. And that audio is clear. Like, I mean, the portion where he's yelling, it is really loud. But when when they show the other parts, let me play that video that you're talking about because I know what you're saying. Um, it is really loud when he's yelling. And that's all I've been trying to think about as far as how clear would this have been? Because I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I mean, they may have talked about it early in the beginning, but I really haven't heard anybody kind of really describe their impression on whether it be clear, whether it be muffled. Okay, I'm going to use the one by True Crime Cat. Okay, I don't know who these people are, so hopefully they don't mind me using their stuff. If y'all know who these people are, please let them know that I gave them props and using their stuff. And here we go. I've never heard that one before in my life. I've never heard this one. Did y'all hear how clear that was? Have y'all ever heard that one? That sounded really clear. That was really clear. What did y'all think about that? Let me play it again. Listen how clear it was, because you can hear them say, I'm telling you, it's Brian. Did you hear that? She said, there's someone here. Did y'all hear that? She said, there's someone here. That sounded like Kaylee's voice. See, did I hear that as clear as day right now? And it sounds like a muffled sound. It sounded like Kaylee's voice, you know? Can y'all hear that, chat? Yes or no? It could either, I mean, do you see what I was talking about as far as the sound trailing off? Um, I agree that rain captured something. I honestly don't know what they're saying, and I don't like to read the word, but still. If anyone, her family would know her voice. Yes, exactly. I've listened to this over and over again. There are so many interpretations. Very true. That's a good point. Yes, I've heard the shorter version, and I've heard one off Kara Willis's. She has like two audios on hers, and it's interpreted differently. And like you said, you can hear different things from different avenues. As you know, you can sit there and listen to it over and over. But whatever it is at the end when that guy is screaming, I don't see how that could have been faked. It sounds to me like he says, leave me alone. I'm going to put up a picture here that I found. Like I said, I've been cleaning up a lot of my stuff from earlier on in the case. And I found this picture because I was looking for it 100 times over. I finally found it. Let me know if you remember this picture. Do you remember this picture? When it first came out? It came out not long after November 13th. The internet was going wild with it. They're going wild with it. Golf, would you like to come up? They're going wild with this picture because they were claiming that this was the assailant. Yes. So this Ring camera captured this guy, and it was eventually, talked about. It wasn't Brian, obviously, but people were going insane over this picture when it first came out. I'm going to go over some other things too. I'm going to show you some other pictures and photos because and I want to talk about the sound too. Um, let's go to this other picture right here. I posted this one today on my community page. Do you remember what this picture was? At the very beginning, they were saying that this was one of the jacks. Y'all remember that? Or this was supposedly the perpetrator of the crime. Whoever that is a creepy ass picture. This was supposedly uploaded to a Snapchat not long after the crimes happened. So this picture right here was this was going crazy. I'm not sure who Warbear is, but I don't know. And another thing they were saying was, according to look around his neck area, around the neck of the hoodie, it's kind of discolored. So they were saying that could potentially be blood. No telling who this is, but it could be anyone. And I took this picture for a reason. I think while I was going through and taking pictures and everything and screenshotting and everything else, is I thought to myself, you know what? This is a picture that shows that he's right-handed and how he holds the pen. Why would that matter? Somebody tell me why that wouldn't matter. I don't remember that one. I'll have to go back and look at that one. Y'all tell me why that would matter in this case. Whether he's the perpetrator or whether he's not, what would matter with him being right-handed and holding a pen like he does? Do you think that has any significance to anything else? Maybe or maybe not. But I was thinking when I took this photo, I was thinking, if they found in the autopsy whether the perpetrator was left-handed or right-handed based on how the cuts are and how deep they are based on how the individual grasped the knife, then you might be onto something. Exactly. Yeah, I don't remember Warbear. Yeah, you can tell if the knife stabs were from left or right-handed person. So I'm pretty certain that this is going to show a lot when they did the autopsies, whether it came from a left-handed or right-handed person. I don't know if y'all can see my mouse arrow, but think about this too, guys. Think about this. If somebody were doing the ice pick thrust, okay, most of their bruising would be on the inside of their palm, even probably these two knuckles, because they would be holding the knife and they would be thrusting into bone and against other skin and everything else. So they'd have bruising in this area. If they were doing the straight handed thrust, they might have bruising in these knuckle areas, depending on whether they hit bone, whether they hit anything of significance. I just thought that was interesting, that photo. And this obviously is Brian's apartment. Thought that was pretty cool. His door, the number, and it looked kind of not fancy at all. Paula said, just how someone learns. My husband is left-handed, but you wouldn't know about watching him write or looking at his writing. Very true. I mean, he could be ambidextrous and be both-handed, you know. And here was a text from the Martinez guy that invited him to the pool party. Let me read it for you. It says, hey, you want to go to ETSI? I'm about to head over there right now. What's good? Hey, bro, nothing much, but I've had the flu all week. This is November 4th. November 4th. Try to feel better soon, man. Somehow I managed to avoid getting sick this semester. Thanks, man. Today I finally felt good enough to go back to class, so I think Monday I'll be 100%. That's good. Did you get a flu shot? Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Hey, thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving. So Brian is the one in the black, okay? The green was for Martinez. So Brian said, what's good? Try to feel better soon. He's managed to avoid getting sick. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. So he's not much of a talker in his text message, just very vague, right? Only twice did he use any kind of emotional symbols. Thank you for joining us, Swamp Rose. You're welcome at any time. And here's another photo. Do y'all remember this one? This one was supposedly taken, as people were saying, in the back of a red Jeep, because they were talking about the headliner, the red roll bars. But they were saying this was supposedly Quinn Kelly and Dylan Mortensen. But then they even got more into detail, and they had two other people over here. So they were saying this was probably Bethany. This other one was Dylan. Oh, that's Warbear? Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. You're welcome back anytime. Okay, so I found that picture and I was like, what in the world is this? And for those of you that have been in here that have heard me talk about the ring cam from apartment 52 on 500 Queen Road, I finally found a picture. Golf inspector, if you're still here, here's the picture. This is the door that you were talking about. So supposedly there was a ring camera right here that was faced downward or maybe outward. That this is the camera that supposedly caught Brian's white Elantra or whoever that was going forward and back here. So let me ask you this question, okay? Let me ask you this question. For all of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I think that live was probably last week sometime, but just look for it, you'll find it. Let me ask you this question. You wonder, what the significance of this ring camera be? You know what I can tell you that significance? Because if that white Elantra was coming back this way at a slow pace, look, it's almost eye level to capture inside the Elantra. And if it was coming back this way, the same thing. If any light hit the front of the vehicle, it would illuminate the front, it would illuminate the vehicle, and it would show on the interior at least the silhouette of a person, and this camera would get it based on the trajectory and the images that it captured. So this camera might have captured a lot more than the 11-12 one did. Can you send me your email and I can email it to you? My email is 12gauge12gage Phillips 41@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you because I only have it in my evidence pics. I finally found it. So let me ask you another question too, okay? Because this is something that came up with me today, and this is something I was thinking about. How many of you have seen Brian get pulled over? Let me get that picture. Brian get pulled over in his Elantra. I think it was on the Pullman campus. Oh, the link to come on panel. Yes, more sure. I'm sorry, I thought you meant the thought you meant the other thing. My bad. I'm kind of brain dead today. Let me show this and then we'll get back to that other. I want to show this because I was thinking of a question. And this never crossed my mind before. Not one time. I haven't heard another person talk about it. None of this stuff because I don't like to copy people's thought process. I like to do my own. And if you've ever heard it, I didn't steal it from anyone, okay? Hey, Golf, welcome.
Hey, how are you? I
I'm
missed the
doing great.
question, by the way. So can you repeat it? Because it was
Yeah,
very.
I was just saying that if any of y'all had remember him getting pulled over here at the Pullman campus, right?
Mhm.
I was thinking today, and I'm going to go back to that camera, but I was wanting to show this picture for a reason. What's on every vehicle of every campus in the United States? What's universal
On every campus.
on every vehicle?
I mean, don't they have like a campus sticker or something like that?
Yes, a parking sticker.
Uh-huh.
So would Brian not have a parking sticker on his?
I mean, I assume so.
Yes, because people have been asked, the thing is how would they have gotten to him in that Elantra? Think about that parking sticker. What if
Mhm.
one of those cameras captured the WSU campus sticker on his vehicle? That doesn't necessarily mean he was the one. Yeah, parking pass as well.
Mhm.
But that definitely wouldn't, what if it captured part of the number? What if it captured the WSU insignia, anything?
It is quite possible. I mean, it's quite possible they have his license plate, which
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised they didn't use that in the PCA, but it is possible.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So I was getting back to this picture and I was so happy when I found this. I was like, man, I struck gold today.
I am
But
too. I'm
but
not
this
crazy.
that right. It makes
Uh-huh.
you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm crazy. All this time people have been calling me crazy.
Yep.
But this is the door right here, right? Where my
Mhm.
pointer is that you were talking about.
Yeah, and you see that little white thing there? And the thing about that camera is the way it was explained in the news segment, it's actually pointing towards the house. So you think it's pointed straight out, but it's not. It's actually pointing a little bit on an angle.
Okay, even better. Like if it is at an angle,
Mhm.
think of somebody coming up this road because it's quite steep. So if it's anywhere near eye or handle level right here, it would almost capture you,
Most
eye
definitely.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any lights or anything that shine on you, even the light reflection off the building into the vehicle could potentially illuminate that vehicle,
Hmm.
where you could see a silhouette of a person, maybe hair, maybe whether they're wearing a mask, whether, anything like that of significance.
Hmm.
But the fact that the vehicle in question did not have a front license plate, they would definitely see that, I'm sure. Would
I
they
mean that.
not?
Yeah, that's one thing. But quite honestly, at at this point in time, I have a suspicion that uh, that Anne and the team would have it because they would
Yes.
have to present that as evidence. And I've yet to see that they would, because they wouldn't go out and say all the things that they say if they were like, but that's sort of a proof you really can't go around if that indeed
Right.
if they had his car. So I wonder if I think the camera captured something, but now and and there are too many things. I know I'm babbling, but there are too many things that tell me that they don't have his car. And here's another one. In the beginning, the owner of I think it was the owner of the other apartments that caught the Linda Lane footage.
Okay.
He has another building that's right there at the end, and that
Yes.
building actually captures that area as well pretty good. And he came out and he was talking about he saw a white sedan come through there at, and I don't want to lie, but like let's say 2:45 and 3:15 because he had gone over all of his footage. And that
Yes.
was on, I think it was some Fox News or something online. I found that article. So
Yeah, let me pull
taking
this up because I have the picture right here.
so you take
Tell
that,
you.
plus you couple that with the fact that they actually had the wrong car in the beginning. The FBI identified the wrong year. So I'm leaning towards that indeed might have been the other year car, so to speak.
Okay, this is the area that you're talking about, this first
Yes.
building right here.
Yes. Yes.
Because you're coming up through this road, it would have this camera right here looks down.
But that's not the
Linda Lane.
camera. There's another one. So he owns another building there, and I think it's actually so
This one?
if you look at the picture you were before,
Mm-hmm.
the way I understand it, the the other one, no, the one with the camera on the side of the building that you just found, and you look towards the end of that road, there's a house that sits right there. So it's not one of these two, basically,
Okay.
facing the other
I think,
direction.
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's
Yes.
this building right here.
Hold on. Let me see. I don't want to lie. I think so because it faces down towards 1122 King. So he had that other camera that we looked at, the Linda Lane, and then he has another house up there, and he has a camera on that one too, facing a little bit down towards, I guess, that area, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what he was saying, and he looked through like I don't want to lie, but like 16 hours or something worth of footage, he said. And the
Wow.
yeah, and he saw that it was
This
uh
building right here.
I think so. Hold
Yeah, I
on.
remember that. Yeah, because that was the one of the cameras that they first were very they were talking about even before Linda Lane. They were
They were
talking
very
about this.
interested in,
Yeah,
yeah,
with this camera
yeah. So
because it faces out.
correct, correct. So
This
that
camera, so this camera would have got that sedan that picked that guy up by the dumpster as well, right?
I think, yeah, but I'm thinking we're looking down the wrong road though. This is not going down towards 1122 King. So the other building is actually facing more that way. So it's like a side building.
Okay. Yeah, I can't get down that way.
Yeah,
The street view will only let you in front of Taylor.
I know, I know. That's
So
why I said if you go back to
yeah,
that door picture, you see it a little bit better. If you go back to the other picture you had where you found the camera on the side of the building,
oh, okay.
yeah,
Let me go get that one. This one. So it's this little apartment right here?
I don't see you're not sharing it. Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. Like this one right
Yes, so
here?
exactly at the end of that. So he would have had a camera that would have seen both like that area you pointed out, that road, and towards this way.
Oh my God, that's a straight on shot. I didn't even know
Mhm,
about
mhm.
that camera.
Yeah.
So that's a straight on shot. That would have got whoever making that turn right there and coming back.
Yeah, but he didn't mention that because he looked at all of it, right? So
Okay.
he sat through, I think he said something until like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning is what he looked at. And he said this, I distinctly remember. Now he could be wrong, but that was what he said in the interview, was that it was between 2:45 and 3:15. So a really narrow timeline there, right? That he saw a
Yeah.
white sedan. So I'm wondering, like, and he sat through that and watched it until the morning, and he did not see another white sedan. Is that what he means? Because obviously he would have said that, right?
So he
And then
wouldn't
there was
have,
another
he
one at
didn't,
4 a.m., you know?
he
So
only saw the one that we saw
yes,
in the Linda Lane footage, right?
I don't think that's the one in the Linda Lane footage
Oh wow.
because
So
that was later.
there's not a car at all that whole night?
See, I don't know how that Linda Lane footage, if that's genuine or not, if it's from that night. I mean, from
Yeah,
everything we
because it's
know, it could be or it couldn't, I mean, it could be either or. Time could have been changed on it. I don't know. But
true.
the one that where the guy comes, isn't that later in the evening, like at night? Or is that around like between
Well,
2
I know the beginning of the white car coming around here is at 407-ish
yeah.
on the yeah.
And he didn't mention that one. But now that white car could have gone up to the right here, or
Yeah.
I don't know if it went around that building or if it went right up here in
Well,
the side
one of the times the white car supposedly, as they talk about in the PCA, they round the apartments and come back down and they attempt to turn into the driveway. And he supposedly made a misguided turn. He like turned too close into the driveway into 1122 King Road and then backed out and then went down the road. At the end of the road, made a 3-point turn and then
yeah.
came back up.
Yeah. I mean, you would have noticed that if you look at that camera, right? From his angle. That would have
Yeah,
stood
you
out.
would have seen everything. You would have seen the delivery driver, the rideshare driver. You would have seen all that.
I mean,
You
depending
think?
on the quality, obviously, but I think, I don't know his eyesight. I can't judge that. But
Right,
as I
right.
say, I'm going by what because in the beginning, like everybody, I was very vested, looked into, and I remember all these things because I know I went over and over and over again on these, little details. And one was that, when they had the wrong car, the FBI had the wrong car, the wrong year. And I don't
Right.
think anybody does that deliberately. What whatever anybody says, I don't think they will like,
So, I mean, based on what you're telling me, then see, I always had that camera confused with on the other end, the other apartments.
yeah, no. He's got
See,
2. He's got 2 apartment
so
complexes. And I think
so
people just
maybe
look at
this is 52 and there's another camera here.
yeah,
Either way, there's two cameras in and out.
correct. And
I
then
mean,
the
it's
one
almost,
you mentioned right
yeah.
across the street, now that one, I don't know what happened to it, but I think I remember it because I went through when Google Street Map was still available, I went through and I should have taken screenshots, but who knew they were gonna shut that thing down?
Right.
You know, none of us
You
knew.
never would have assumed that.
Mm-mm.
I did take a screenshot. I found it. I just can't remember what I did with all these because I was uploading them yesterday, and I'm like, where did I put them all?
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to show you that I thought was quite interesting is when they were measuring the tire marks,
Mm-hmm.
and here they are measuring. Okay, and this one is right there by that tree, you know, because the road, King Road, is right here, and then it empties. There's those apartments.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one. They're measuring, so there was tire marks there. See, they're in front of the King Road house,
Mm-hmm.
and they're measuring these tire marks. See these right here?
Mm-hmm.
Confused whether Brian or whoever made these, if these were fresh or if these were tire marks from somebody else.
Well, they would know that
Yeah.
100% because I mean, every tire it makes a distinct mark, right? It has its own patterns.
Yeah,
So
that's what they say.
yeah.
But that one is weird, like when you look at it, because I have it on a video. I was talking with Jeff H about that on that
Mhm.
video. And this marking goes just like what I had just said, is whoever was rounding this corner, it's almost like they misguided it and they
Mhm.
slammed on their brakes and went to the left and then backed up and then went straight, did the 3-point turn and then back up. You get
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that the tire marks right there. And then I wanted to specify on this to all the people who were giving these two ladies hell. Remember, these two ladies were the ones on the video that were
Yes.
gathering gloves and everything. And that's all you heard is these are unprofessional people. And look, she dropped the glove and this and that. And it's not sanitary and all this, that. Well, they're not even going into the house. They're measuring tire marks. And this one picked it up and threw it in a sack.
Because I think all
And
of us assumed that it was the same because these ladies were inside the house as well, the same
yeah,
ladies.
but they were outside measuring the tire marks. These
Mhm.
are the ladies that I just showed.
Mhm.
So I was like, those poor ladies got all that grief and they weren't even in the house.
Yeah.
All kinds
But
of
in
weird.
the house though, when they were there was instances in that house that looked a little bit sus to me still though, because you know when they filmed and you can see what they're doing in there, they had
Right.
like no hair nets on first of all, and
Yeah.
one of the ladies had her hair tied back and it was sort of in her face or whatever, so she moved it with her hands. So they did,
Yeah.
you know, little things like
Right.
that.
I mean, I'm not saying that they were perfect. I'm just
Mhm.
saying those two ladies specifically got a hard time on the
Oh
internet.
yeah, 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 absolutely, and I agree with you. And I also assumed that they were actually going inside after what they were just doing out there.
And I never realized this all this time, even after looking at the house on the interior. This is the top floor, right? So this is the staircase.
Mhm.
So this is Kaylee's room right here.
Mhm.
Here's the bathroom. Maddie's room would be straight this way.
Back.
So Maddie's room would be on the left as soon as you climbed up these stairs.
Hold on.
So
So you're saying
Hi, I'm John Calder of Acoustic Geometry. Let's talk about acoustics, which is basically how sound works in rooms. It may seem complicated, so let's make it simpler. Most rooms have flat walls and flat ceilings, and sound bounces off of these. So how does that affect the sound? I'll use these two Nerf guns to demonstrate. I've got this one aimed so this disc goes directly to the ear. That represents direct sound. I've got this one aimed so that disc bounces off the wall and it represents reflected sound. I'll shoot them both at the same time. Reflected sound arrives at our ears later than direct sound, even though it started out at the same time, because it's traveling farther. And this wall is only one flat surface. There are at least 6 in the average room, and that's a lot of reflected sound. But why is reflected sound bad? I'll demonstrate using these two identical patterns. The blue pattern represents direct sound waves, and the red pattern represents reflected sound waves. They start out together, but when I move the red one backwards, like a delayed sound reflection, it creates destructive interference patterns, which changes the original sound wave. Here's the problem. Original sound waves are distorted by strong, later arriving reflections. Also, sound travels really fast, about 1,130 feet per second. A sound wave will bounce back and forth between these two walls about 60 times in 1 second. Sound travels so fast, it fills a room almost instantly. And this is only one bounce angle. Every room has thousands. How can we make our rooms sound better? Remember our Nerf guns? I'll shoot these at the same time, again representing a sound wave bouncing off a wall. Both discs bounce together in the same direction, which means the reflected sound is at full strength. Now let's use the first of our two acoustical tools, an absorber, to reduce the strength of sound bounces. To a sound wave, an absorber looks a little like a hole in the wall, so some of the energy doesn't come back. An absorber works by reducing the strength of reflected sound that would otherwise cause more destructive interference. But if we use only absorbers in a room, it makes it sound dull and unnatural. Historically, humans don't like overly absorbent rooms. So, let's use the second of our two acoustical tools, the curved surface diffuser. It also reduces the strength of sound bounces. A diffuser works by scattering the sound reflections in different directions, smoothing out destructive interferences throughout the room. Room acoustics are greatly improved using a combination of absorption and diffusion. It's all about reducing those flat surface reflections. Use a combination of absorbers and diffusers, and your room will sound a lot more natural. Thanks for watching.